Hey, what's going on? My name's Stranger and you're tuned into another video, and today we're going to be doing a casual walkthrough of Massive X, doing some simple sound design. And I recently received Massive X in my inbox thanks to the kind people at Native Instruments. So we're just going to get right into it, and I'm going to walk you through how you program a sound in Massive X. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to go into the preset browser here, and under quick start we're going to select Massive X blank. Okay, that will just reset all the settings on your Massive X. Now if I hit my keys, I'm not going to hear anything because in my routing page on this section here, there is no oscillator that is being routed to an output. So on the right here, these are your outputs, and on the left here, these are your oscillators and sound generators. So you have two oscillators, there's some noise generators, there's some modulation happening here, there's the F, which is a filter, there's an amplitude envelope and whatnot. So actually these are for the insert effects. So I'm going to select oscillator 1, and I'm actually going to send it to the filter. Now I could actually send it directly to the first output, but I actually want to use my filter. So I'm going to send oscillator 1 to the filter, and then I'm going to send the filter to the first output, which is output X. And now we have sound. You notice we have different types of output routings here. So right now we kind of have a serial output where X feeds into Y, which then feeds into Z. However, that can be changed. Here you can have X and Y, which are parallel, but then feed into the last output. And here all three are parallel, but we'll just stick with the serial mode for now. And then over here, this is oscillator 1, so I'm going to change this wavetable position. So the knob is around this little shape here, and you can see the waveform change as you adjust this knob. So I'm just going to play with square wave for now. However, you do have other waveforms. If you click on this little drop down, then you get basic operators, all sorts of different waveforms. So we'll just stick with the square wave for now. Okay. And this is oscillator 2. We're not going to play with that just yet. Now, if you're making a bass sound and you want to go below octave 1, you're going to actually have to set the pitch 12 down. For some reason in Massive you can't play negative octaves, so you just have to just transpose the oscillator 12 notes down. And there we got some nice bass. So this section here is the filter section, and you just have to select a filter algorithm. So I'm going to choose the Asimov, and then by default it's at LP4, which is usually the one I use. You have a little gain knob to increase the signal. There's actually a frequency modulation knob here. I don't quite know how this one works yet, but we can mess with it in a future session. Okay, now the modulation parameters works much similarly to the previous version of Massive. So if you click any one of these buttons, you'll get the performance section where you can create really interesting articulations to modulate pretty much whatever you want. For now, we'll just play with the regular envelopes. So the very first envelope, which is E1, that's dedicated to the amplitude. So if we want to fade in that sound, then you can increase the attack. And then modulator 2, that's the first modulation envelope, which is free, so you can assign it to whatever you like. So I'm going to select envelope 2, and then I'll modulate the frequency of the filter. And then of course click and drag to increase the modulation amount. Then we can play with the attack. All right. We can play with some of the other filters. We can browse and check out how each one sounds. This one sounds pretty fat. I'm liking the Monarch filter. That's a comb filter. Whoa, this is pretty cool. Sounds like it has more of a distorted effect. Looks like there's different types of algorithms to distort the filter signal here. That's pretty interesting. Let's try the growing. So they don't have a full manual for Massive X yet. They do have a quick start guide. So I'm not sure what a lot of these parameters do, but the interface is pretty simple in that you can just experiment with the knobs and then you'll hear what it's doing. One thing I'd like to see them improve on is to have some kind of visual representation of what's happening in the modulation envelopes. I'm sure they will look into that in a future update. That one sounds pretty fat. Yeah, so some pretty fat filters. Let's stick with the Monarch one. All right. Now we can assign some insert effects into our signal, so we can try some distortion. Now we're not hearing anything because we now have to go back into our routing and then send our signal to effect A here, which is the distortion. So we're going to have to double click this line to remove it and then send the signal from filter to effect A here. And then of course we can send the signal from effect A to X, or we can create a pair or a serial connection into each effect and then finally send it to X. Okay, so that's without the effect. I'm trying the anima effect. I'm not sure what this does again, but it sounds pretty interesting. Let's add some distortion next. Looks like there's 5 types of distortions here. And it has a little visual representation of the distortion curve here. I'm liking this one. Let's see what else they got here. They got the bit crusher. I think I'm cool with 2 insert effects here. And of course there's then send effects, and there's 3 sends here, X, Y, and Z. So let's say we wanted to add some reverb. So the first effect is on the output of X, so that's over here. So I guess if you want to send your signal directly to the output, you would actually send the signal over here. Whereas if you wanted to send through the 3 effects, then you would first start at X and then move down that way. So I correct myself there. Let's try adding a delay. I'll just show you guys the performance modulators just so you can get an idea of how it works over here. So I'll just turn off the envelope 2 for now, and I'll send performance 1 to the frequency. Now the first thing I need to do is set the length of the performance, and I'll just set it to 1 bar. So I'll just drag the end point of this loop here. So it's now just 1 bar. Now you have a selection of different notes that you could use in the performance. And then you have different shapes. So I like using the downward sawtooth here, and we'll try whole notes for now. So now you have this kind of effect. Every time I hit the key, I want it to reset the performance. So you just got to click on this little button here and just hit when you hit key here. And then it starts at the beginning of the performance every time I hit my key. And then you can set it to either loop or 1 shot. I like looping it. So you can try different notes.
There is no active call.
gives some pretty interesting articulations here. So that's just a simple walkthrough of the performance editor. I'm just going to switch back to envelope 2. Over in the voice section is where you can have the unison mode, so it can click unison and then select a number of voices. Can increase the spread of the unison mode. So now you get a really fat sound. Let's add some pitch enveloping to this sound. So I'm going to send E3 to the main pitch here. So this is the main pitch of the synth, but then you also have the individual pitches of the oscillators here. So it looks like there's different types of envelopes here. There's a, oh, this is interesting. There's some LFOs here. The LFO section seems pretty interesting here. Looks like there's a random LFO generator here. So this can create some pretty interesting sounds. What I'm most comfortable using is just the regular envelope, so we'll just stick with that for now. We'll definitely explore some more crazier sounds in the next video. Let's try sequencing a beat with this. I have a standard beat written prior to making this video, so just to speed things up. Sounded pretty fast. Let's try a lower note. wonder if I can adjust the sensitivity of the frequency to velocity. I haven't really figured that one out yet. Overall, I am liking the sound of Massive X. It does sound fatter. I just think certain improvements in terms of the interface and intuitivity I could see coming in future versions, such as some visual representation of the envelope. Overall, the sound is pretty fat, so I am liking it. Alright, that's it for this session. We'll definitely get more in depth in a future video, but I just wanted to do a quick walkthrough on how you program a simple sound in Massive X. And overall, I am impressed with the sound, and I definitely want to get more in depth with the controls in Massive. It's just gonna be a matter of just getting a little more practice with the interface. Again, I do like the fatness of the sound. Just adding some unison and some distortion really fattens up that sound. So it is an instrument that I see I will be using a little more in the future. So yeah, that's it for now. I encourage you guys to try it out yourself and experiment with some basic routing and playing with some basic modulation on, say, one oscillator. And from what it looks like, the possibilities are pretty deep. I'm excited to explore the LFO section, maybe get a little more in depth with the performance section. We haven't even gone here yet. I'm not sure what these are yet, so we'll definitely get into that in a future episode. But for now, you have a quick run through of the Massive X platform, and in the next video we'll get more in depth. So definitely keep in touch and like the channel if you like what you see, and we'll definitely see you at the next video. Peace.